Hi there, listeners. Welcome to Mates and Moments podcast. Christian here, alongside with me are Jazzy,
Hello, everyone.
Sunny,
Hello.
and Vinz.
Hi everyone.
Lovely there. Love the spirit. So yeah, just last few weeks I've just trying to arrange catch-ups with school friends, uni friends, what have you, and then amongst all of that time realise how long it's been since I've met up with them, and it made me think and reflect about my school journey from back then to now, and I'm like, so much has transpired in the past, well, decades really. And then just wasn't sure if anyone else ever had that feeling where they look back either fondly or badly on their school times. I mean, exams have probably finished by now, but as we speak. But yeah, I mean, what do you guys reckon? Have you ever had that feeling before?
Yeah, I mean, I think, reunions are so difficult to, reach back. I think if you're not in regular contact or, as little contact as you possibly can, it's so difficult to just bring everyone back together because everyone sort of just moved on with their lives.
Yeah.
So it takes a lot of effort. And I don't know if it's in the UK as much, but in America you see reunions like every 10 or 20 years or something like that. I don't know if that culture's in the UK as much.
I think there's been efforts through Facebook. I know there's Facebook groups that try to create these reunions out of it, or the school may decide, but I don't think it's embedded in this culture, in the UK that is.
No, I mean, I would definitely look forward to having a reunion of such because, it's such a long time, and it'll be just interesting to see how people have got on in their lives, and I'm sure there's probably similarities in our journeys as well.
I mean, I think being in an Asian household, and we have our own families and kids and whatnot, so I think it becomes even more difficult in terms of how much we prioritise, and maybe someone who's not akin to that family lifestyle may find it frustrating to try and arrange these reunions, I guess. What are you saying, Vince?
Yeah, I would like to say in terms of, I guess it depends on everyone's schedule as well and meeting up with their busy lives, I guess. And another thing, sometimes you hear news about people from school that you wouldn't have heard. You would have heard from whispers, I guess.
Whispers?
Not whispers or from not Chinese.
Hearsay?
Yeah, hearsay maybe.
I mean, but I guess social media has kept us connected, and you do. I know, like on Facebook, you're friends with everyone, and you look back, you've got hundreds of, nearly thousands of friends on there. But are they genuinely your friends? And obviously, those are just people you knew from school, essentially.
Scammers.
Or scammers.
No, they just use you. I mean, I don't think I'll be able to touch base during my primary school years because I'm not sure if you guys know, but I started off in a special needs school. I had learning disabilities. I'm not exactly sure back then if there was a spectrum now that we have now to define what level I was on, but I did know that it affected my learning abilities. And
so did you have to do like a test to see how much you've developed or anything like that?
I suppose there were some assessments, because I think when I was in a normal school, but like a comprehensive school, very early on, like year 1, year 2, I guess they realised I was really behind and that I needed something to catch up with the rest of the standards of the school, and I guess they slotted me in this school, separate school. I think there was like maybe 10 people in a class, and the whole school, like upper and lower school, I think there was all together like 25, 30 kids, and it was 2 buildings, separate buildings, one lower school, and just across the road there's a bigger school. But it was like massive playground, there's hardly anyone playing there. It was just me and a dozen people. I think about 40-50% were probably Asians, and just like Caucasian maybe. But it was interesting, like I wasn't the only Asian there, but there was quite a few of us, and each of us found it, I guess, difficult to progress. And then I guess it was written by the person upstairs that I won't be there forever, and then I'll catch up. And I just look back and I wondered, how did I manage to get from there to just being more cognizant and conscious around what's going on, whereas before I had no idea from Tom to Harry and A to B, A to Z. I just had no consciousness, and I don't know how that happened, but it's just something just woke up. And I remember my mum used to always cry because she was like, how am I going to navigate if I don't have an education? guess the parents, back then they had certain expectations that their kid will exceed in STEM fields subjects, like any of the sciences, I guess, or become a doctor, lawyer, engineer, what have you. And I think my dad, my mum, they realise, he's gone through this, and it's just a miracle that I got a degree, basically, and I'm able to talk the way I am now.
So how has your parents helped you through that experience, if any?
I would say my siblings and my cousins probably had more of a hand on it. I guess my parents were worried. I mean, my dad works throughout the clock, really, as does my mum with my other younger siblings, and So I think my older sister, she was there just trying to help me and my cousins, just give me tutoring, if you will, after school, during school, just try and help me catch up. I don't know, something just happened where eventually I was more conscious of what I was reading. I was actually reading, listening, understanding. I mean, I would always stared like a zombie in front of the TV watching Cartoon Network all day if it was my choice after school. So I did feel like I was bullied a bit because I was, the word sida sada or lallu, that people associate with someone who's not aware of their surroundings, I guess.
So bullied from your own family and the South Asian community?
A little bit, but I think even at school, I think when I was initially in comprehensive school when I was young, there was one guy who just kept picking on me because I didn't say anything, and he was just basically saying, what's wrong with you, basically? Can't you talk? Can't you say anything? Do you not know what we're doing? Kind of thing. But again, for me, it was like white noise. It was like, huh? Just blank. And, I still wonder what is it by the grace of God or Allah or Buddha or which of the gods that anyone believes listening to this podcast, like, what happened? Why was my fate then decided to be that I managed to have consciousness of what I'm doing? How am I able to now read and write and articulate to like now? And yeah, it's always something I always wondered.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's a really important kind of conversation. Thanks so much for sharing your experience and how that's kind of, I guess, shaped your learning, I guess, because I think even today, like nowadays, they've got that resurgence of I guess learning difficulties and what it kind of means, and how should teachers teach, and how should society be in terms of all these learning difficulties, with the rise of people being more aware of what learning disabilities are, one of those things, and then two, with autism and ADHD kind of assessments being kind of increasing over the years. I think is a really important topic and discussion that will probably cover much more detail in one of our other episodes, I guess. But thanks once again.
I mean, can you ever, I guess, cure learning disabilities, or is there a spectrum? Are you on the milder side at this moment, or how do you assess where you are now?
So, it's I think earlier on, I think one of the first things that made sense to me was arithmetic. Like, there is an answer. There's no one who's bullshitting you with some answers. If you're doing a debate, something, or some English subjects, like, you have your own opinions and you put forward your opinion as being something right or wrong, I guess. Or there's some business concepts that I don't understand, or like in science, some certain things work a certain way, or computer science, certain networks or certain software work in a certain process. I know something with maths was like, you can't bullshit things because you got an answer, I guess.
Facts and figures, right?
Facts and figures, yes. I felt like that kind of helped. I think reading, I never took notice of it, but then for some reason during my A-levels I excelled in that subject, but I never took any notice of it. It was just there, just took it because I seemed to, English is my first language. I thought, surely, you can get a good grade with that, right? But I guess you see some people who, born bred here, but they don't really use the English language as well. And then you see people from abroad who have a greater command of the English language when they write and read and use all these different words that are available in the dictionary. And we're stuck with the most basic, informal ones, I find.
Yeah, well, I think, your question in terms of that, Sonny, in terms of, like, can you overcome it? I'm a strong believer that you can. And, like, you can learn ways to kind of develop and change and, I guess change those brain waves that we kind of have in the ways of learning. Just like as Chris has kind of mentioned, something clicked, and the way he kind of learned things just kind of set in, and he got into a pattern, he got into a rhythm, and he got into a pattern and rhythm that suited him and his needs. So I think there is a kind of way through it.
And obviously I mentioned maybe once in an episode about cricket and how I used to look at facts and figures to figure out economy rates and predicted scores, and that's fall into my degree in statistics. So I know maybe there was just that interest in one aspect in sports, and then it was applied. So it was more applied theory there back then.
I mean, I know you mentioned about, I guess, your parents' expectation. I mean, them knowing that you went to a school with learning disabilities, did their expectation change?
I believe so, but then again, I think my dad, compared to other Asian parents I've come across, he's more relaxed. He's like, as long as you're learning and trying to educate yourself, I'll get you all the books and resources, if you will. But he was always working. He wanted, to do more in his life with education, and obviously my older siblings, they've got degrees, my younger ones, and it's what you do with that degree at the end of the day. It's all well and good saying you have this much credentials, but if you're not going to apply it, then you feel like you're not getting your return on investment, especially now with tuition fees being so expensive. It's like triple, quadruple, probably even ninefold it's probably increased during my time. And then before then, people could literally pay a degree for less than a few £100 back then, or even study for free. And you get in other countries as well, you get free education up until university, bachelor's. And yeah, just find that interesting, like how there's a price to your education now, more so than ever. Like even like your A-level exams, you're paying for those, but some London schools, your first 3 takes are free, whereas where I had to pay for each time, and it put me off retaking because it felt like more work, more pressure, because I'm paying to have my exams retaken. It's like all that finance and costs, it puts you off. And I don't know how it is nowadays with A-levels and GCSEs this year, how much pressure it is to get into a top school to make sure you're getting that education to get you that good job. Are you saying, Vince?
I was going to say, in terms of my experience from school, I guess, because my older brother, he has Down syndrome, and I guess most of my parents, my mum's attention was based on him. So with me, with my expectations at school, I guess I'll just go for it, I guess. Just seemed that I was alright. I was doing alright. I think especially in primary school days, I used to love maths. Just the multiplication. Do like a little quiz thing. Whoever responds to the multiplication question quickly, they get the points.
So did you think that because your brother's got Down syndrome, that changed your parents' expectation on you?
Yeah, well, I guess because my dad was also career focused as well, so he wasn't really as much around. He just trusted that I'll just do something out of it. Whatever appealed to me, I'll just follow it, I guess. And then my mum was just pretty much putting most of her attention on my older brother. And I mean, I used to remember pretty much most of my school life, my school time was just playing, enjoying the break times, playing football, playing, not rounders, bulldog as well.
So it's not sitting in the classroom listening to the teacher.
Oh yeah, there was that as well.
Lecturing.
Yeah. Just listening to them, reading all those Kif and Biff books.
Kif and Biff?
Yeah, like back in
I think it's
primary
Kipper, right? Kipper,
That's
Biff
it.
and Chip.
Kipper, Biff and Chip.
I just learned that because my children are reading that as well. Kiffer.
Yeah, you don't read those in your spare time no more, no?
No, not anymore. Not just for bedtime. I kid. And I suppose with further along after primary school from SATs.
What are SATs?
No, that's a good question. I can't even remember, to be honest.
Don't know the acronym.
Yeah, you're gonna have to let me know, Christian. Tell me.
No, I don't know either. I was just curious because I never bothered to understand what it actually stood for. But I do know, exams, like you start from quite looking back, you start exams at a young age, and I wonder what we went through. I don't think I really cared earlier on until people said GCSEs determines your life, A level determines your life, university determines your life, your work course determines your life. It's like once you get these media people just hyping up those exams. I guess that's when you feel like, oh, what's my fate? I guess.
Yeah, I mean, just trying to think of it for myself, but I feel like Asian parents, they want to always give you something that they never had, and I think just as parents as general, you always want to make your kids do something that you never had. So, and when they came here as, I guess, first generation immigrants, education wasn't the first thing that they had. It was working straight away because they had to earn a living.
Yeah.
So for them, doing the hard graft in that generation to allow us to educate and better ourselves, that's why I guess they push for education and provide that and push for that pressure. So yeah, I mean, yeah, that was just an observation I made.
But you reckon there is a sort of association with these STEM subjects, that this is a certain class or societal expectation?
Yes, definitely. I think with those particular core subjects, I feel as though Asian background just think that those are the safe career options for your family, so that you'll be having job security and there will be a pathway for you. Obviously, I think generations have changed now. Social media has changed.
Yeah.
Obviously, those core subjects are key and really give you the foundation for any career option for you.
Yeah.
So I definitely would recommend continuing down that way.
Yeah.
But yeah.
I guess because there was no expectations on me, I actually didn't know what I wanted to do. And then my dad just said, you know what, mate, just, look, for all I know is maths is the king of all subjects. So I just said, okay, maths then. I was like, I'll figure something out. I can go into any direction, as they say. But it ended up adding more questions as to what do I exactly do, because people's idea of maths can be very different. And I've just bumbled along the way. It's like either I do accountancy, well, I didn't pursue it. Pharmacy, didn't pursue it. Oh, I'll associate myself with the pharmaceutical industry by being a statistician. Didn't get into statistics, I did data analysis. So it's like I've just deviated each time because there was no expectation, there was no clear path. But all I know is that, as my dad said, yeah, maths is all king of subjects. So I didn't really stick to any subjects that, pursued any career paths based on my strongest subjects, really. I ended up having a weakness in maths in the grander scheme of things, but I still went ahead because I just trusted my dad's take on, you know what, there is, whichever way you want to do, just go through and use the maths.
So have you met your dad's expectation? And is he proud of you?
I mean, I guess he's happy that I'm in a better place. Like, I have a stable job, I have a wife and kids, I guess, and I'm able to provide for them. So I guess he's happy and proud in that aspect. I think more my mum was proud of me. Just she ends up crying separately sometimes when she brings up you were this, and then when I saw you graduate, I was so happy. I was so proud. She would cry. She would just cry just because she remembered those days where I had no consciousness. Basically, I was not aware, and I was just in my own little world.
Yeah.
But how did that make you feel, though?
I suppose a bit of relief that, thinking back, when she told me how much she cried, I guess I was thinking hopefully, it's lifted something off all that burden she had, all that worry she had that I won't be able to progress. And I guess I do surprise myself sometimes when I say to myself, I've got a wife, I've got kids, I've got a stable job. It's like I've kind of got the basics. And I'm thinking, how the hell, from there to then? And then say, even you've been through my journey as well, Jazzy, mate. You've seen it as well.
Yeah, I have. And, I think it's commendable to you, your support networks, your parents, everyone involved in that journey to kind of get to where you've kind of got to. And I think, that parent expectation, especially, in an Asian household is significantly high, I would say, traditionally speaking. I think from my experience in terms of like parents' expectations, like my dad had no expectations of me whatsoever. Like he just wanted me, I guess, as what Sonny was saying, just to kind of get a job and just stay within that job. And obviously, as you do, in teenager, you have your teenage job, whether you're working on a shop front or a restaurant or whatever. I had one of those, and my dad just really wanted me to stay within that lane and not kind of progress in any kind of way, shape or form. But my mum really wanted to kind of push me and be, I guess, the traditional doctor, go into engineering or wherever it might be, just a traditional kind of road with expectations, for a South Asian boy, I guess, in terms of that. Because again, one, I think it is the expectation of job security, financial security, whatever kind of going forward. But then also at the same time, it's, I think for my mum especially, it was like a status thing as well.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, if my son's a doctor, if my son's a lawyer, if my son is this, then I guess I can parade him to the world and all the other auntie or whatever. Oh yeah, this is what my son does, etc., etc.
Potential rishtas.
Yeah, and potential rishta and all of those kind of shenanigans.
Yeah,
I
people
guess.
do tend to go up the ladder by marrying up.
Yeah, I think so. So I think that was a lot on my shoulders. But I guess I never really kind of I knew in my mind, and obviously it was directly in my life, that oh yeah, you need to be something. And I think related to medicine was kind of the closest thing that I was going to be doing and being connected with. So that's the kind of field and where I kind of pushed myself in terms of that. So I kind of did manage my parents' expectations, but at the time when I was kind of growing up, like it didn't feel like I was managing their expectations, because my dad was like, oh, he's useless, he's not going to do anything, like just get him a job. And my mom was like, nope, he's going to do something, like let him just keep studying and go to uni and whatever. So I kind of do that. But then now, as I've kind of grown up, have my own family, just a bit like you, Chris, in terms of that my parents look back and go, wow, look at what my son's done.
Yeah.
So they can look back at it now. But when you're kind of growing up and those expectations, I think they do weigh quite a lot, whether they're said or whether they're unsaid. They're just kind of in the back of your mind. What are my parents going to think? What are they going to say? What are they going to do? How are they going to impact my life in some kind of way?
Yeah, that is a good point. I agree with what you're saying there, Jazzy. I just think that Asian parents have evolved themselves as well.
That's true.
From, I guess, your generation to my generation to Vinzi's generation, and it'll be interesting to know what our listeners' parents think as well of them, if there's any expectations set from them, and they probably have changed. I don't know, because look at it now. I mean, more than half of us here have got children. They're not going to have that same sort of expectation that you guys have been brought up as. So it will evolve. It will change. It'll be interesting to see how that's changing. I think, having creative fields is becoming a more acceptable career path.
Yeah, I mean, I see quite a bit inspirational when you see more Asian comedians now coming to that TV space. And it shows, there's more from our side. I know we had, goodness gracious me, had Sanjeev Bashkar and Paul Chowdhury. Now we have Ramesh Ranganathan, Guz Khan. We have Adil Ray. We have all these various Asian celebrities coming through on the TV world, and now even YouTube as well. We have Vicstar123 as one example, and there's so many others. But it's like you see these people more in the media space, and it's quite cool actually. Just looking back, where you hardly saw that representation, and it's nice that there's no one holding the back, going, you should be a doctor, you should be a shopkeeper. That's what you're limited to. But now it's good to see people. They can even get into sports as well. You see more footballers coming through,
which is fantastic, isn't it? For like us, as look at what we're doing now. This would never have been possible with our parents' expectations. Back in the day, like just even having a chat like this, and podding, and being involved in this kind of content creating space. This was never expected. This would never have happened. So, I think you're quite right there, Sonny. The expectations might shift a lot in that kind of direction of doing whatever the child might be interested in, and however life, whatever life journey that they want to follow.
Yeah, I guess when we talk about expectations, I mean, what either words of advice or reflection, or what could we tell listeners who've had their exams? Like, how should they manage, or what to expect? I mean, it's quite a sensitive time, I guess, and it's like, what would we say to those?
I would say, it's not the end of the world. It really, it's just the beginning. Obviously doing well in your GCSEs, having that foundation would really put you in good stead for the next phase. But I feel as though when you're at that age, you're really under pressure of deciding what you want to do. I remember, even growing up, it's like, okay, so what do I want to do? No one has a clue. You're making decisions when you're 16 and 18 years old to determine your future. It's a really scary place.
I think even younger as well, like in GCSEs, you get to choose the subjects as well.
Yeah, so I think even year 9 as well. Like you have to choose your subjects, and then thinking, oh, how's this going to affect my future? I would suggest, don't worry. Whatever you decide, choose stuff that you really want to do, really want to learn, and just build on that, really. I mean, it's not even just A-levels you can move on to, is BTECs and also apprenticeships as well. I mean, I think that's the beauty of apprenticeships, is you get to work and study at the same time. I don't know how much of a big push that was in your guys' generation, but I think nowadays people are looking at student debt saying, this is ridiculous.
Yeah.
Need to earn the money because, cost of living and things like that.
Yeah.
There's a lot of pressure for these youngsters.
There is. I think that the demographic of that has all changed quite a lot. And obviously when I was growing up, apprenticeship was kind of like looked down upon rather than looked up upon. And I know that's changed with government changes and policy changes and obviously tuition fees, etc., etc. Lots of that has changed in terms of that. But in terms of like exam advice or whatever, most kids have probably now done all their exams and they've got their results back and whatever. It's like, you've done what you've done now. Don't dwell on the past. Look at how you can kind of move forward, basically. And just like as Sonny's already kind of mentioned, it's not the be all and end all. Yes, it will have some bearing on where you might kind of go in the future, but it doesn't have every single bearing at all. If I look back at my own, what I did at GCSE in comparison to what I'm doing now is completely different. I would never have expected that path in terms of that. So just don't get lost in that kind of narrative, like, oh my god, this is going to define my whole life.
I would say even after GCSEs and A-levels, I was still unsure what to do in the future. So I just decided to give myself a gap year, just to give a feel of what I want to do, explore. I thought, okay, I just put a hand in retail, just work hard for a bit, and try to improve skills. And in terms of my social skills, I guess I could say I was quite a shy kid in pretty much primary and secondary school. So I thought maybe that's one area I can improve on in terms of speaking to more people, and just managing different aspects within a retail environment. And I also wasn't really interested. I was thinking about doing a degree, but it was just...
What about the exams, mate?
Yeah, the exam wasn't great.
Let's hear your advice about
great.
exams, mate.
Yeah, exam results wasn't that great, and I've had the options to do retake. Because of retail, I did pay for exam
Let's talk
retake.
about exams, mate. Exams.
What
Exams
advice?
mate.
Let me make it
sorry.
simpler for you, okay? What
Sorry.
advice would you give
Thank you, Sonny.
your son or daughter when it comes to their GCSEs?
Take it seriously. Yes.
Wow.
Try to just obviously revise as best as you can, and not to waste too much time. I was watching, I think the night before my exam, I ended up watching TV instead of revising.
Oh,
I
wow.
probably
That's
downfall my
good.
grades.
That's good.
But obviously you want your children to do better
Yeah,
than
and
what
obviously
you've
avoid
done.
watching TV.
I
Just make
mean-
sure they put dedicated time for studying and good plan and organisation for it.
I just say follow your passion, to be honest. Something I deeply regret was I never followed what I was passionate about, and I just went with the flow, and I put pressure on myself trying to meet that goal when really, I should just enjoy it. I've seen people who are successful now, and I could see that they were passionate about something, and that passion just drives that work ethic naturally. So if you can find that passion, then you know the grind it will take to get to that pathway. But never ever see your exam results as who you are, because you're not your exam results. That's just a part of you getting to somewhere else.
Yeah,
And if it's
true.
written, it's written. Never look back with regrets. Just know that it was written, and there might be another destination that will take you somewhere that you never expected. But yeah, I think there's so much we can cover. There's so much aspects, and I'd invite listeners to share their journeys, their expectations. I guess if not from their parents, from someone else. But it was great chatting to you guys, and you can always follow us on our social medias. We got our Facebook, we got our Insta, we got our TikTok, we got Patreon hopefully coming up. But yeah, this has been Christian.
Thank you. This has been Jazzy.
Yeah, thank you for everyone for listening. This has been Sunny.
And here is Vince, and take care everyone, and goodbye.
Alveda.